A lot of people dream about moving to the Alabama Gulf Coast. They picture slower mornings, beach days, beautiful sunsets, seafood restaurants, golf carts, boats, sunshine, and a lifestyle that feels completely different from where they're coming from. And for a lot of people, this area really can be an amazing fit. But I also want to be honest, not everyone who moves here ends up loving it. And usually it's not because the Alabama Gulf Coast is a bad place to live. It's because they moved here with the wrong expectations. They chose the wrong area. They underestimated the cost. They expected vacation life to feel the same as full-time life. Or they didn't realize how different Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Foley, Fairhope, Daphne, Spanish Fort, Robertsdale, and all the surrounding areas actually are. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why some people regret moving to the Alabama Gulf Coast. Not to scare you, not to talk you out of moving here, but to help you make a smarter decision before you buy a home, choose an area, and make a major life change. Because the goal is not just to move to the coast. The goal is to move to the part of the coast that actually fits your lifestyle. If this is your first time on the channel, I'm really glad you're here. I'm Miranda Baldridge with Advantage Real Estate, your local go-to realtor and community connector right here in Baldwin County, Alabama. I help people relocate to Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Foley, Fairhope, Daphne, Spanish Fort, Robertsdale, and all the surrounding areas. And one of the biggest things that I help buyers with is not just finding a home, but understanding the lifestyle that comes with each area. Because the Alabama Gulf Coast is not one single lifestyle. Living in Gulf Shores is different from living in Foley. Living in Orange Beach is different from living in Fairhope. And living on the Eastern Shore is very different from living right near the Gulf beaches. So if you're thinking about moving here, make sure you subscribe to the channel because I share honest videos about what it's really like living here and what you should know before making the move. All right, let's talk about why some people regret moving to the Alabama Gulf Coast. This is probably one of the biggest reasons people get disappointed. They visit the Alabama Gulf Coast on vacation and they have an amazing time. They stay near the beach, they eat out, they relax, they walk around Gulf Shores or Orange Beach, they go boating, they sit by the water, and they think, oh, I could live like this. And maybe they can. But living here full time is not the same as being here on vacation. When you visit, you're usually in vacation mode. You're not thinking about errands and insurance and maintenance and appointments and traffic, bills, work schedules, or normal weekly routines. But when you live here, those things become a part of life. You still have to go grocery shopping. You still have to deal with weather. You still have to maintain the property. You still have normal responsibilities. The beach is still here, and that's a beautiful thing. But your everyday life will not feel like a vacation every single day. The people who do best here are usually the ones who understand that. They love the lifestyle, but they also understand the reality of full-time living. Another major reason that people regret moving here is that they choose the wrong area for their lifestyle. This is huge. A lot of people start their search by saying, I want to move to the Alabama Gulf Coast, but that's too broad. The area has very different communities. Gulf Shores is more beach-centered. Orange Beach has more boating, marina, and waterfront lifestyle. Foley is more inland, practical, and residential while still close to the beach. Fairhope has downtown charm and Mobile Bay scenery. Daphne and Spanish Fort are more suburban and connected to the Eastern Shore and Mobile. Robertsdale, Loxley, and Summerdale can feel quieter, more inland, and more spread out. So if someone chooses an area based only on price, photos, or one weekend visit, they may end up in a place that does not match their daily lifestyle. Maybe they thought near the beach, but realized that they actually wanted more everyday convenience. Maybe they bought inland to save money, but realized they wanted to be closer to the water. Maybe they chose a charming area, but needed easier access to work routes. This is why choosing the right area matters just as much as choosing the right house. Another reason some people regret moving to the coast is that they did not fully understand the cost of owning property near the water. Coastal living can come with extra considerations. Insurance can and will be different. Flood zones can and will matter. Wind coverage can and will matter. Condo fees matter. Maintenance matters. And if you're buying near the beach, near the bay, or in certain coastal areas, you need to look at the full cost. cost, not just the listing price. A home may look affordable online, but once you add insurance, flood insurance if it's needed, HOA fees, maintenance, utilities, and other costs, the monthly number may feel very different. That does not mean you should avoid coastal property. It just means you need to do your homework early. Get insurance quotes early, understand the flood zones, ask questions about the roof, the elevation, HOA, maintenance, and property history. Do not wait until the end of the process to figure those things out. A lot of regret can be avoided by knowing the real numbers before you buy. The Alabama Gulf Coast has a beautiful climate for a lot of the year, but summers can be hot and humid, and if you're moving from a cooler or drier climate, that can be an adjustment. Some people love the warmth. Other people find the humidity harder than they expected. You also need to understand that this is a coastal area, so weather preparation matters. Storms, heavy rain, tropical systems, and hurricane season planning are part of living near the Gulf Coast. That does not mean everyone is worried all the time. People live here, work here, raise their lives here, and enjoy the area every day. But you do need to be realistic. You should know what your insurance covers. You should understand your property's location. You should have a plan during the storm season. And you should be comfortable with the realities of coastal weather. For some people, that's manageable. For others, it can feel stressful if they weren't prepared for it. Another reason some people regret moving to certain parts of the Alabama Gulf Coast is seasonal traffic and tourism. This mainly applies to the beach areas, especially Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. Tourism is a big part of what those areas are active and vibrant on. It supports restaurants, attractions, shops, events, and a lot of the local economy. But if you live here full time, you also feel the busy seasons. Roads can be more crowded, restaurants can have longer waits, beach access can be busier, certain areas can feel very different in peak season compared to slower times of the year. Some people love that energy. They like living in a place where people want to visit. They enjoy the activity, the restaurants, and the excitement. But other people, they get tired of it. They thought they wanted to live in the middle of the beach lifestyle, but they later realized they would rather be close enough to visit the beach without living directly in the busiest areas. That is why some people end up preferring Foley, Robertsdale, Daphne, or another community altogether. Another thing that can surprise people is that the Alabama Gulf Coast is not a major metro area. Yes, there are restaurants and shopping and healthcare options, entertainment, the beaches, outdoor activities, and plenty to enjoy. But if you're coming from a large city, you may notice differences. You may not have the same amount of nightlife. You may not have the same number of restaurants that are open late. You may not have the same variety of entertainment, public transportation, specialty services, or big city conveniences. Some people move here because they want a slower pace, and they love that. But others move here and realize they miss the energy, the convenience, and the variety of a larger city. That does not mean the Gulf Coast is lacking. It just means you need to be honest about what kind of lifestyle you actually enjoy. If you need constant activity, late night options, and big city amenities, you may want to think carefully about which part of the area fits you best. Another thing people sometimes underestimate is how much driving is involved. Most of Baldwin County is car dependent, even in areas that feel convenient. Most people still drive to the grocery store, to restaurants, work, appointments, the beach, and other communities. If you're moving from a walkable city or a place with a strong public transportation system, this can be a big lifestyle change. You may be close to things, but that does not always mean that you can walk to them. This matters when choosing where to live. If you want to be near downtown Fairhope, that's very different from living further out. If you want to be near the beach in Gulf Shores, that is different from living inland. If you want easy access to Mobile, Daphne, or Spanish Fort, that may make more sense than living further south. So before choosing a home, think about your normal week. Where will you actually go? How often will you drive? What roads will you use? Those questions matter. The last reason some people regret moving to the Alabama Gulf Coast is lifestyle spending. This is different from housing costs. Even if the home fits your budget, the lifestyle can still add up. Eating out, boating, golf, fishing, beach gear, visitors coming into town, parking, events, short trips, maintenance, outdoor furniture, extra utilities during hot months. It all adds up. And because you live in a place where people visit for vacation, it can be tempting to spend like you're on vacation. That does not mean that you have to. You can absolutely live here on a controlled budget, but you need to be realistic about the lifestyle that you want. If your dream is to go out often, host visitors, enjoy the water, eat at restaurants, and take advantage of coastal living, build that into your monthly budget. That way, the lifestyle feels enjoyable instead of stressful. So why do some people regret moving to the Alabama Gulf Coast? Usually, it is not because the area is bad. It is because there was a mismatch. Wrong expectations, wrong budget, wrong area, wrong property type, wrong understanding of full-time coastal living. The Alabama Gulf Coast can be an amazing place to live for the right person, but it is not one single lifestyle, and it is not perfect for everyone. So before you move here, take your time, compare the areas, visit during different seasons if you can, understand the full cost, think about your normal weekly routine, and make sure the place you choose actually matches how you want to live. And if you're thinking about moving to Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Foley, Fairhope, Daphne, Spanish Fort, Robertsdale, or anywhere in Baldwin County, feel free to reach out. I help people compare these areas all the time, and I'd be happy to help you figure out which one makes the most sense for your lifestyle, budget, and your long-term goals. You can call, text, or email me anytime. All my contact information is in the description below. And if you found this video helpful, which I hope you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel because I share honest videos about what it's really like living here along the Alabama Gulf Coast. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.